edition of Trauma Talk Radio with your host and today's guest, Natasha, Freedom Coach Natasha. Welcome.
Thank you.
So today's question, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Awesome.
So today's question is, have you ever, this is a long question.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever dealt with a person who had trauma but who would not own up to it? And then second part is, if so, how did you get them to admit it and realize they need to heal?
I deal with people who have trauma and have yet to own up to their trauma all the time. That's pretty much what I do as Freedom Coach. Even those that come and have consultations and stuff, people aren't necessarily always ready to do the work to actually heal from their trauma. Some people aren't ready to admit that they have it, to fully acknowledge it. And then those that do admit to it, they just not ready to really go on that introspective journey. So most of the time, 90% of my time as a Freedom Coach is being a prayer and intercession. I'm a priest most of the time. I'm always praying on behalf of others until they're ready to get to that point. Now, as far as the second question part, read that again.
If so, how did you get them to admit it and realize they need to heal?
I don't. That's not my place. That's the Holy Spirit's job, is to get people, convict people to where they admit that they have the trauma and they need to heal from the trauma, as well as getting them to a space where they're ready to heal for the trauma. Now, if we look at this question from a perspective of family, because we all know we have family, I always, it depends, because if their trauma triggers me, then I'm like, okay, that means there's identifying factors in me, and I need to focus on healing myself, because no matter where they are in their journey, it shouldn't disrupt my internal state of being. And so that's what I do. I just focus on me, and then I become a reflection of that healed version that they can become when they're ready to become it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. What do you think?
Because I know sometimes people realize that, like the question said, they realize they have the trauma, but then they're just not ready to own up to it. But then sometimes I even notice from the interviews, just when people talk about their trauma, and then that's like a aha moment for them. Or even when you interview them and you have a way of like saying what they said back to them. I don't know the term for that. And then they have like, oh yeah. Then they hear what they said, but because it's coming from you, it helps them understand it better too.
Yeah, I love helping people see that they have value.
Right, there you go.
And the wisdom that they have to share based on the traumatic experiences they've experienced and overcome, but yet have yet to fully heal from. Even in the fact that they're still here, they have value to add to others. But yeah, and that's the thing too. With that, I like to help people understand that it could be a fun journey doing the work. So many people think it's going to be painful. It's going to be, devastating to revisit those traumas and heal. But I like to help them see the adventurous side of it, how they're going to discover things about themselves that they didn't know before. They're going to grow in their relationship with God and all these other great benefits that comes from the work, despite the negative connotations that we get hung up on.
So it's like a growth process dealing with trauma. Mm-hmm. Not something negative, but like actually positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Transformative.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. I have some additional thoughts. I just still processing what I'm thinking about. But yeah, so I want to make sure the person's question, if they understand the answer to their question. So yes, you have dealt with people, a person who has trauma. That's basically what you do.
Right.
And then how do you get them to admit it? Like you don't. Like
Yeah.
they have to be ready for it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if there's anything, any aspects of their trauma that triggers me, I work on me to the point to where I'm no longer triggered by their trauma, so that I could be an example and a reflection of that healed version of themselves when they're ready to actually do the work pertaining to whatever trauma they're holding on to.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you.
We can only change ourselves.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're in control of ourselves.
Right.
So I always turn around and look in the mirror and say, okay, is there anything I need to work on? And then that's what I focus on, rather than trying to get them to admit something that they're not ready to do.
Right. That's good. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.